Hey guys, Jared here. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title of this video, there's been a new life event. I've quit my job. Yeah, I'm done. So many of you don't know, but I am an attorney. I've been practicing law for a number of years now. I graduated law school and did that whole thing, took the bar, and yeah, so I've been practicing. But recently I decided to change all of that. So let's back up a little bit and I can kind of give you the rundown of how this all transpired. So I went to undergrad and I pretty much from day one, and as far as I can remember, I've always wanted to be an attorney. There was never like a plan B for me. I knew that's what I wanted to do from a very early age. I remember going and getting pamphlets from like Harvard and all of the big huge law schools in the country, and that was like a real big dream of mine. And like I said, there was never a plan B. It was always focus, focus, focus. Everything that I did in undergrad or in high school and leading up to going to law school, it was dedicated to becoming an attorney. I went to law school, I got into law school, I took the LSAT, did all that, and once I got to law school, I still enjoyed it, but I felt something deep down that something probably wasn't, not that it wasn't right, but that something was off, and I didn't know exactly what that was. But again, I was succeeding in law school, I was doing fairly well, so why not keep going? And that's what I did. And a couple years later, I graduated law school, and right from the graduation date forward, I worked. I got a job right after law school. Actually, I was working while I was in law school as a certified legal intern, and I went on to become a prosecutor for a number of years. And again, it was work that I enjoyed enough. The pay was worth it, but it's a whole another story. But I enjoyed the process of practicing law, of going through the motions, no pun intended, of figuring out a case. And you know, the objective obviously is to win and do the best job for your client and advocate for your client. My client just happened to be the state because I was, like I said, a state attorney. And I enjoyed it enough. Like I said, it wasn't like I didn't come home and feel like I just saved the world, but there was some cases in which I did feel like, you know, some person's life was changed. And that's really why I got into law, because I wanted to be able to change people's lives and, you know, ultimately help people. But, you know, I wasn't really happy with the environment. And so I decided to, again, make a switch and, you know, go on into private practice a short while after starting as a state attorney. So I was there, and then, you know, the lights, camera, action, glamour of the private practice came calling, and so I took that opportunity. I worked at a firm, a big firm, fairly large firm, briefly, I'll put it that way. I worked for in my opinion, not great person, and that's not exactly how I pictured my legal career going. And even though it was a big firm and I should have been thrilled, objectively on paper everything looked great, but when I actually got there and behind closed doors, it was not the prettiest picture. I was actually only there for 7 weeks, and that has its own story. I probably can do an entire video just about that, those 7 weeks. And I was miserable. And basically I had a conversation with my husband that basically went along the lines of I either quit 7 weeks in and salvage my legal career, or I stick it out for the 2 years that everyone was telling me to stick it out just so it looked good on my resume. And I never practiced law again after that 2-year period. And my husband has always been super supportive, and he was like, you know what, do what you have to do and we'll figure it out. And so that's what I did. 7 weeks later, I walked in, I turned in my resignation, and I was out. And it was really the best decision at that time, because I knew within my spirit that it was not where I was meant to be. I was not meant to walk around like a zombie, just billing and doing what I was told in that kind of capacity. And I said, you know, I'm out and I'm not going to stand for it. So that ended that. And then I went to a smaller boutique firm, and again, I worked there for a couple years. I enjoyed the work more or less of what I was doing. Went to a larger firm, that's where currently just resigned. And again, not that there was anything wrong with the firms or anything like that. It was just, I wasn't happy. I did things in between here and there. I opened a business. Again, that's probably another video that I'll delve into, but I did open a business. That business had its issues just because I was a novice business owner and I wasn't really familiar with the field, and I didn't know as much as I should have known at the time about what I needed to look for, or look for pitfalls that could potentially, you know, harm the business later on. And that's essentially what happened. It was a hard blow to my ego, a hard blow to me mentally, emotionally, physically, because it was the first thing in my life that I actually ever failed at, where I put my mind to it and I invested my time, my money, my effort, everything that I had at that time, and I put it all into this, and it didn't do well. And I wasn't used to that happening. If I wanted to, you know, go to law school, I put in the work, I put in the time, I put in the effort, I put in the money, and it paid off at the end. Same with everything else that I had done thus far, and that wasn't one of the things that I could just rely solely on, just quote unquote hard work, or it just didn't work. So I closed that business, went back to practicing law full time, and the reason I knew that law wasn't exactly what I wanted to do is because I kept trying to find outs. I kept trying to find things that fulfilled me on a different level that I wasn't getting from my career. And I would see like my husband, who is successful at what he does and he enjoys it, and he comes home and he's, even though, you know, everyone has long days and everyone has things that they go through with their jobs, but there's still a sense of gratitude, there's still a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment that he gets that I saw that I just didn't feel. And I wanted that as well. And then about 2 years ago, I decided to get my real estate license. Now, real estate was something that I didn't think I was going to use as far as for a business purposes. I thought it was more going to be for personal reasons. I would, you know, skip the middleman and buy my own investment properties and do things like that. And that was the actual intent of me getting my real estate license. And so I did that. Actually, I got it on a whim. We were leaving for San Francisco, and I decided, hey, let me go just take the test, because I didn't need to take the courses because I'm an attorney. So that was already one step out of the way. So I went and took the test, and lo and behold, I passed. And so it had just been sitting around for a while. I really wasn't doing much with. And then I met with a friend of mine, and I decided, hey, let me just give this a shot. And so real estate came calling, and I was doing that. I liked the fact that I was really my own boss, in that sense of I worked when I wanted to. I could take on, you know, different clients that I chose. It wasn't something that I needed to I don't know. It was just different. It allowed a lot more flexibility. So one of the biggest factors of any career change or any career decisions that I've made in the past year or a year and a half has been the birth of my son. That was a really life-changing moment where my priorities completely shifted, where it went from, work and money and things like that was at number one, and then everything else kind of fell below that. And then when he was born, that kind of shifted completely. My priorities completely changed, and he became the first priority in the thing I think about the first thing in the morning, and he's the first thing I think about before I go close my eyes to go to bed. And when you're working in a law firm environment, especially with, you're doing litigation, which is what I did, there's not a typical 9 to 5 or a typical, you go in and you get out at the exact time. And I didn't take paternity leave. Partly was that I was kind of newer to the firm and I didn't want to really take that time off, which I ultimately regret, because not that I didn't bond with my son, and which we are, I think, bonded just as any other parent, but it was such a big life event that I wish I would have just taken the time and taken a step back to realize its importance. And I think it was just because it was such a whirlwind time at that moment that I just didn't feel comfortable taking that time off, and I just didn't do it. And so again, when you're in a firm, hours and billables, that's a thing. And if I never hear the word billables ever again in a day of my life, it'll be too soon. And so that was their main priority at my firm. It was the billables, my hours and things like that, and making sure that time got in. It wasn't, hey, did you get to spend a half day with your son and, leave for, a week or, whatever. It was, what are your hours, things like that. And that didn't leave a great taste in my mouth. Honestly, I didn't feel that it was the time, or especially as a new parent, where my focus should be on anything else other than my child. And again, I get it, it's a business and everyone wants their business to do well. And so, if you have an employee or if you have someone that works with you or for you, you want to make sure that you get the most out of them, to make the business a success. And I get that and I totally understand it. But that's not where I was at that moment. My focus was solely on my child. And so at that moment, the wheels were in motion to say, listen, this wasn't for me. And I knew it was like my inner voice speaking very loudly and was glaring at that moment to say, we need to figure this out. We need to get a change going. So that's where the real estate came in. And I enjoy real estate and I enjoy, that whole process. And then an opportunity came about to buy a commercial building, which we just purchased. And we'll be starting a new business very soon. The wheels are in motion to get that all opened. And now it's, that's what my main focus will be, is making sure that this business is a success. I've learned all of the things that, what not to do in my previous business to know how to make this one, work and make this one a success. And my husband has owned his own business for 7 years now, and he's been crazy successful. And, I definitely want to make sure that's a trend that we keep going, because anything that we do for ourselves business-wise, it ultimately helps our family. And like I said, my son is the priority, for myself and my husband. And so obviously we want to make sure that these things are set up for his future, and make sure that, the way he lives, which is very comfortably, it stays that way. So, that opportunity led me to say I'm going to officially step away from my legal career. So I will be a non-practicing attorney now. It's weird. It's really surreal that something that I had worked so many years for, 7 years of school ultimately, and then now I'm stepping away. And it's bittersweet, definitely, but I know it's the right thing to do. I know that at the end of the day, it's what was meant to be. I'm very grateful for my legal career. I'm very grateful for the skills that it's taught me, and for the skills that I have. But it's not what I'm meant to do in the day-to-day, and I know that, and I'm happy that I figured it out and I didn't go through life, I didn't get to 30, 40, 50 years into a career that ultimately wasn't fulfilling. And so I decided to step away, and I'm really happy. And like I said, I'm so thankful that I have such an amazing husband, amazing support system that allows me to take these risks and step away from something. Obviously, that's a guarantee of, you have a set paycheck and set this and, all of those things that comes along with having a professional career, and taking a step back from that and going in a different direction. It's super scary, but like I said, I have such an amazing support system and foundation that it really allows me to step out and step away and be comfortable with it and not have that fear. Obviously I have excitement for a new business, a new chapter, but I don't have necessarily the fear of like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? That hasn't come up. It really has not even been something that I thought about. I went in, I gave my notice, and I said, this is it. And so when I said this is it, I didn't mean just in this firm. I mean, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. And I'm really happy about that. And I don't take any of this for granted. I know that I am doing something that a lot of people don't necessarily get the chance to do, because either they're the breadwinner of their family and they have to be the ones that make sure that they get a paycheck coming in, because if not, their family will suffer, or that it's just something that they're just not able to do, whether it's financially or mentally or something like that, where there's some sort of block not allowing them to go out and explore things that may make them happier, as far as career-wise, and I don't take any of that for granted, and I'm super thankful that I actually do have that chance to do something to where I can find not only myself, but find things that make me happy and make me more fulfilled. And like I said, I do well in environments where I'm my own boss, where I can be creative, and where I am kind of in control of my own destiny. I like being able to be flexible with my time. I like being able to be just, put my own values in place before anything else, because I feel that that is, really important. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to do something that my heart's not in. And when you're not in it with your whole heart and your whole mind and your whole body, I think it shows. And I would go to work and I'd be so tired, and it wasn't because I was tired because I didn't sleep. I mean, I'm in bed at 9, so I definitely get my sleep, but it's I was tired because it was not something that excited me. It wasn't something that I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm crazy passionate about this. Let me, get up at 7 a.m., get into the office and stay there till 7 p.m. That's not what I felt. It was, let me get in and do my job and be done. And I wanted to change that. And so now I will be running my day-to-day business with my husband. And like I said, we'll have more details on that as the process gets closer when we get ready to open. It's definitely a different venture, definitely a huge left turn from legal practice. But I'm really excited about it. And then, as that business starts to be more established and the day-to-day things are kind of more stable, I will be, still dabbling in the real estate and doing things like that. And hopefully I can make the two work. If the business requires my attention for however long it requires, that's like I said, the priority. So that's what will get the most of my attention, because that is going to be essentially my new career. And so I'm going to make sure that that's success first and foremost, and everything else career-wise will kind of have to take a back seat. I'll still have my real estate license up and active, so I will still be able to help my clients if and when. But yeah, so that's it. I quit. It was it wasn't a dramatic exit. It was just, hey, this is what's happening, and everyone wished me well. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this new chapter, and I am looking forward to the future. And you know, if there's anyone else in a similar position, I know one big thing for me was, I actually was reading Michelle Obama's book, and one of the parts in there when she was talking about, you know, going to law school and passing the bar and doing that, you know, it just felt like something that she was meant to do. It's like when you have family members and things like that, where they know that has been something that you've been working on, so it kind of feels like you're meant to do it, and also feels that you don't want to disappoint anyone by taking those steps back, and you realize that, hey, I'm not necessarily happy, but there's a whole lot of people that are counting on me to get this done, so that's why you kind of stick around. And then, you know, she also writes about, like, you know, starting in a firm and not being exactly happy in that kind of environment, and wanting to make those similar kind of changes. And so that really resonated with me, because it was like, hey, no, this is what I feel as well, and I'm, you know, even though I'm meant to do this, or, you know, there's a whole lot of people that are so proud of me, but I'm not really happy. And so thanks, Michelle. You really did help me make that final decision, because I felt like it was like kind of the universe speaking through me through her. And yeah, so that's that. So yeah, so I'm in a period of unemployment right now, where I get to kind of just chill and wait for new things to happen. So yeah, so if anyone has any questions, comments, please comment below, and check out my Instagram. There'll be a whole lot to follow there in the meantime, so I'll put that link below as well in the description. But yeah, so I hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, I have a whole lot of free time, so make sure you comment and interact so I have someone to talk to or something to do. Have a good one, guys. Bye.